I was just going to say, the first question I wanted to ask David is European baseball. How did you find out about it? How did you get involved with umpiring baseball in Europe?
I'm going to slide over Periscope. Like this guy's
it was great. I would visit Ireland since 2001, and after I visited the first time, I said that's my golden place forever. And so every year I would go there, and I would go into the pubs, and I would ask, do you guys have baseball? And the response was always, we don't have the baseball. We play the rounders, you know. And so I kept going, and I didn't go over in 2008, but I saw online they have Baseball Ireland. And Baseball Ireland, they have a national team. They have a league. Peter O'Malley, former owner of the Dodgers, built them a field in South Dublin, and they had baseball. It just wasn't very well known at all. In fact, how little known it was, it was in a large park, and not unlike Fairmount Park or Balboa Park in different cities, and it hosted a lot of sports and trees and lakes. And I couldn't find the field, and so a young couple pointed me to it. So I was standing between the 90-foot base field and the 60-foot base field. At that time, this was in 2010, at that time it was the only two baseball fields in Ireland, and some guy's walking his dog, and I said, what, are these the only two baseball fields? And he goes, is that what it is they play here? So it was not very well known. But when I saw in 2008 that they had it, I emailed them my resume, and I told them I'd come over there, could I umpire a game or two? And they emailed me back saying I could umpire a game or 10. So in 2009, I met with the guy I called Bud Selig. His name was Will Beglin. He was the commissioner of Baseball Ireland. And we met, and I said, we were talking, and I said, who does your umpiring? And he said, well, we have one guy who's been to the pro school. That fellow's name was Glenn Poor. And Glenn Poor had been to the, I forget which pro school. He was in Europe, but it was one of the American umpires who has him over here. And he said the rest are just players from the league who aren't involved in that game. And so I said, you have umpires that have never read the rule book. And we had a little laugh. And he said, explain to me that infield fly team. And so we got along pretty well after that. So 2010.
5 years ago.
July 10th, 2010. I started umpiring for them. I did a doubleheader. And between the two games, their commissioner came up and said, could you umpire our national team tomorrow? And I said, yeah, I'd be glad to, because I've done thousands of games. And so he comes up, and the next day I did their all-star team against their national team, and it was July 11th, 2010, 7/11. I'll never forget. It was the greatest thing, because I had three great things: grandkids, baseball, and Ireland, and I got to combine two of them right there. Then after umpiring around their league, they asked me if I would be their representative umpire to their European Championship tournaments. And so in 2013, I got to spend a week in Vienna umpiring as their representative umpire. I couldn't umpire Ireland in that tournament, but I got these other, all these other teams. And then the last year, in 2014, it was in Ljubljana, Slovenia for a week. And again, I was Ireland's rep umpire. This past year, I was to do it again in July, but I had some injuries, and so I couldn't get over there this year. But that's how I got involved in the international.
John,
hold on, John. In this country that have no idea about the popularity of European baseball.
John,
what?
One moment.
Yes.
1 moment. I have to interrupt you, John.
Okay.
I would only interrupt you if it's important. As we have a caller from the 973 area code, it's showing me a map with roots that I remember, 78 to 80, 80 to 87. Kohler, who do we have on the line? Kohler, Newark, New Jersey area? Oh, they got scared. We scared them away.
Wow.
Oh.
Ralph, you can't scare people away, man. That's not a good thing.
John, I think it was you. John, go ahead. Ask your question again, John.
I was going to ask, for those people in this country that don't understand or even have any idea of the popularity of baseball in Europe, what is the popularity of baseball in Europe, and how has it gotten better since you've been working over there?
I said, what's up?
Well, in 2010, I said, hardly anybody in Ireland knew about it. Now they have 4 fields. They've built a couple more themselves across the rock there in the middle of the Atlantic Sea, and it's grown a lot. They have Little Leagues coming on. They have a lot of the players on all of the European teams are expat Americans. Not a majority, but a lot of them. But in order to play for these national teams, you have to be a citizen of that country. And so I would experience a lot of former American players, college pitchers, and all. And in each country, I'm not sure how popular it is. I know in Ireland it's grown many times in 2010. And I also know that some of the real good teams, because Ireland's good, but there's some great teams over there.
Welcome, son.
And Netherlands and France, and they get a lot of their players from territories that they have affiliations with, like Curacao and Venezuela. I know in Ireland they have Venezuelan, Cuban, Japanese, American, but they also have Irish players as well.
675.
All right, Ralph, you've got another call because I heard it go off.
Very good, John. Kohler, I told them that you weren't scared. Kohler, identify yourself, please. Welcome to In the Batter's Box. Oh, can you speak louder, please?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Who are we speaking with?
Chris Lacey.
Chris, how are you, sir?
Chris, I'll get used to your number. Chris, I'm sorry, Chris. You see, I should have known that it was Chris Lacey, folks, and that's what happened. See, I told you that I can bungle a show. Chris, welcome to the show. With us on the show, a guest tonight is David Dilworth, and boy, you're going to enjoy these stories. He talking about umpiring in Ireland, and I don't know where else, but I'm going to send it back to John and David because my popcorn is ready.
David, Chris, it's great to have you with us, and join in by all means. David, I know that based on the World Classic that Major League Baseball has been running, that the Curacao area has become rather popular with baseball, and the Netherlands has played very well in that tournament. Are there other areas in Europe where baseball is really starting to potentially explode?
Share the broadcast on Twitter.
Explode, I'm not sure. Some of them have had it longer than others, like France and Netherlands, and the teams that I've seen are Russia, Israel, Belarus. Belarus, I would say, is kind of at the lower end, and a couple of the Finnish countries, or Norway, Sweden, Finland. Some of them they have some good American players, and they have some good players from different places, but I wouldn't call them top, but I would say Russia and Israel and Netherlands and France and
bitchin' nigger.
I'm probably shorting out a few as well, but that's who I...
All right, so what kind of a life is this for you? I mean, let's it sounds like a great experience for somebody who would want to get a chance to see parts of the world that maybe they never would get a chance to see under a different set of circumstances. What kind of a life is this for you?
Well, I've been umpiring in the States since 92 out in San Diego, and then I had some grandkids on the East Coast in 2010. So the spring I do in San Diego, the spring and winter, and then I go to Philly and umpire there for a few months, and then I go to Ireland and umpire there for about a month. And during the visits to Ireland, there's not always, but there's been those trips to their to the tournaments, and so it's very exciting. I'm just trying to retire from my job, but I've been umpiring so long, and I absolutely love it. And it's better, I think, than being a professional umpire in the States.
Dude left me because I don't smoke weed or drink.
Whereas, I'm not. It's more of a great hobby. It really is a good gig. Grandkids, baseball, and Ireland. Tough life.
I was going to say, yeah, you don't seem to be complaining about the life choices that you made. Did you ever at one time consider trying to become a Major League Baseball umpire?
No, I started too late. I started when I was around 41, 42. But I've known, we went through training, and I've been fortunate enough in San Diego. They have a long training program. I went through it for 4 years, even though gone through it before. But Mike Winters is a Major League crew chief, and several minor league umpires. They're the instructors. I was lucky enough to be an instructor from 5 through 9, and so I just love doing it. It's so fun.
But now I've got to ask you: when you tell people your job description and you tell them that you spend a month in Ireland umpiring baseball games, what's the reaction that you get from people?
Especially umpires, they say, "God, how do you do that? God, that's good. I want to do that." It's not a big money maker at all. In fact, going over there, you pay your own way. They do pay my way to the tournaments and put me up. But as far as game fees and things, no, but I've taken over a couple of new umpires on different years, and I've asked other guys to come, but they're not really excited, or they don't have the money, or they just can't. I have grandkids.
Hey, John, hold on, John. David, if you would, for our listeners, please remind. I don't even know if I heard it. Tell our listeners what you do, where you do it, what countries, what organization, and how it goes, so the listeners can hear that. And also, Chris Lacey, because I'm going to bring Chris on the line if it has a couple of questions for you. But let us know exactly what is it you do and where.
Well, I umpire at least 7 months in the San Diego area, because that's where I live, about 7 months a year. And then I go to Philly, and I umpire in a semi-pro league, Legion baseball, high school baseball, traveling teams, whatever I can dig up. That's when you go to a new place, you got to hook up with, where you can, and you're always the new guy. So you got to show your stuff, which is wise. When I was an instructor, we would have guys come and say, "Oh, I've done college ball," and
what? Oh, what happened? The show got lost. Are you kidding me? Ladies and gentlemen, we are still live, but for some reason, we got cut off. So I'm going to get us back on. We are still live on ngscsports.com. I'm going to get John back on the air. You're going to hear a phone ring here. That's going to drive my number 2 crazy. Then we'll have to get David and Chris back on the line. But, of course, we're talking to David Dilworth, an umpire in Europe, Ireland, telling us about all... Now, unfortunately, we're going to have a problem now because John is not going to hang up this phone. This is when it gets Diogo Vieira 534. It's a baseball show. But my problem is my co-host is not going to hang up his phone. And hello, how are you? Where are you from? Where are you at? He won't hang up the phone. If he doesn't hang up the phone, folks, on Spreaker. And for those of you on Spreaker, I'm talking to the Periscope audience. This is, of course, In the Batter's Box. as we experience some technical difficulties. Somehow, some way, the Google